We are back on Morning Line. Thanks for joining us. Dr. Calvin Smith with us. We're talking COVID, some of the latest developments. Calvin, of course, with Meharry, and he's terrific. He takes time out of his busy day to do these shows with us periodically. I really appreciate it. You're a great guy, Calvin. Thank you for coming on.
Well, I feel likewise, Nick, about you, man. I appreciate the fact that you use your medium to really try to get the word out, to try to protect people. And so I can't think of a better host. I'm so glad to be here.
Wow, thank you so much. Listen, we've got more calls for you, and we'll go next to Mark. Mark, good morning. Hi, Mark.
Hey, Nick. Morning.
Hey, good morning to you. How are you, sir?
All right. I just want to ask a question. Is there any other way they could test you besides to swab up your nose? Because I have real sinus problem, and I don't like going and getting tested. I done had both the shots and the booster, but when they go stick and swab up my nose, it seems like you stick it up there too far.
I hear you.
I got sinus problem, and I'm scared to go. Is there any other way they can test you?
Good question. I appreciate it. Yeah, if you can touch on that, and then let's go on beyond that with those home tests. I understand a lot of people are doing them, and sometimes they don't follow the directions closely, and they're not getting, accurate results. So what's the best way, and is there another option for Mark who has some sinus problems?
Yeah, so to get to the meat of the question, no, there isn't so far. COVID just likes to, the reservoir for COVID, where it likes to stay, its preferred hotel, is in the back of the nostrils. We tried tests involving spitting. We tried tests involving just going to the back of the throat through the mouth, and those have not been nearly as effective. We did find that we did not have to go as far in the nostrils as we initially were going. If you can recall, if you were one of those first few people that was getting tested frequently, like I was, going all the way to the back of your brain, it felt like. We don't have to do that as much anymore. We did find that, towards the back of the anterior part of the nostrils is really the sweet spot. So they shouldn't be going that far back, to be honest with you. But there is no better method so far. Trust me, if there was a better method, we would distribute that widely, and I think we'd get a better response, to be honest with you. So there's that part about it. Now, as far as the home tests are concerned, there really is something to expertise in terms of doing these things on a regular basis. And I think the home tests are showing that. And this is no slight to people who are doing things. I know some people feel as though they do things better than the professionals do them, and that's fine. But the evidence shows that you're really not. And so, expertise in terms of getting the swabs, obtaining them, particularly if you're doing it to yourself, that's showing that you're not quite as good. You do have some hesitancy as far as testing it for as long as you need to test for, and going as far back into the nostrils as you do. And that's in keeping with you don't want to hurt yourself. So you're very protective in terms of how you perform that test. And I think that's a big part of why those results are not coming back as accurate. But yeah, the expertise, like the nurses and doctors that have been performing these types of swabs have been trained, know the techniques, the subtleties of the techniques, they get better results. And so, but the home tests, I don't want to poo-poo them because they definitely are at least a good first line, especially if you have a lot of symptoms and things like that. You can probably expose less people to the virus by doing them at home. So I don't want to say don't do them. I just want to say that, I wouldn't trust the results as much as I would trust them from the hospital.
Excellent. And just because I know what I had heard is there was some rumor going around or news reports that, you could swab the throat as well. And I think some people, because they don't like the nose, it's uncomfortable, thought, I'll do the home test, swab my throat and do it. And that's not going to work. So don't swab your throat with a home test. And again, if you can, maybe it's hard for you to describe, but you're right. I was one of those early people that went and got a test, and it felt like they're swabbing your frontal lobe. And that was very uncomfortable, but you could do it. But now, if you're doing it at home, just get it up there, not to where it's painful, just swab it. But you could do it comfortably. It may still make you want to sneeze, but you don't have to jam it up. How far up do you go? If you stuck your finger up your nostril, it would go farther than that maybe, but how far up do you really need to go back there?
So you probably want to go in, I think the best way to think about it would be to think about going to about where your bridge of your nose meets your eyelid, right at the bottom. Okay. And so that's not super duper far. So the way that your nose is set up, it has 3 little tunnels that go on top of each other, right? And they all lead to the same sinuses in the back.
Yeah.
Okay. So you want to try not to go past that second tunnel is the best way I can think of it. But you won't feel that when you are, inserting it, because nothing really feels comfortable, going that far up your nose.
Right.
So it's really, it's kind of esoteric, Nick. I'll just say, think about it in terms of if you start to feel some discomfort, you're probably going maybe just a little too far. And it's better just to spin around in an area that probably has a little bit of mucus and everything like that, as opposed to going far back and hurting yourself.
Gotcha. Okay, that's good advice. And just follow the directions on the box as closely as you can. And, you get a result back and then go get one, from a professional to double check what the result is, perhaps. So, see. Yeah. But I agree with you. They're handy. I've got a few at home. I have yet to do a home test, but it's there if I start feeling symptoms. Let's go next to Tom. Tom, good morning. Hi, Tom.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, Tom. What's on your mind?
Well, Tennesseans have a short span of attention. Do you remember when our governor went on Fox News, Sean Hannity, and said children do not get sick from the COVID?
Yeah.
Well, anybody with half a brain knows that's not true. Where I come from, we call that a lie. 48 to 47% of Tennesseans are unvaccinated. I would like you to invite our governor, Bill Lee, to come on your program and answer the question, are you vaccinated?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Hey, look, we'd love to have the governor come on. I have a feeling he probably would not come on. He's a busy guy. But, he brings up a point then, we haven't touched on this yet, with regard to children. Of course, they're all back at school now. Masks, you just don't see them in the works. Children now can be, depending on the age, it goes back. You can be vaccinated from what age up now?
You can be vaccinated from the age of 5 up.
5 up, okay. But
yeah.
we are seeing, obviously, that children can't get it is an absurd statement. It was when it was made, and it is today now. But you hear that there are pediatric cases. There are children ending up in the hospital with Omicron.
Yeah, there are. Unfortunately, and to your point, Nick, we knew it was we knew it was some malarkey when it was said initially.
Well, yeah, that's politics, my friend. That's politics.
Yeah, and so Governor Lee is a fantastic politician by the fact that he's the governor of a large state, and he can probably talk circles around me in terms of rhetoric. But his understanding of simple science is lacking. And so, when you are using, and this is not to, because I think Tom really understands the point. So this is definitely not to Tom, but to the others that are listening to people who are not based in science for your facts, you have to understand that this is the kind of outcomes that we're going to get. The children are still getting very sick from this. The deaths are not quite as high as they are for adults, but the biggest part about it is that they are reservoirs for it. They're vectors for it. They're carrying it, and so as much as we can to protect those kids, we need to.
It is. It's interesting how we see nowadays teachers. You're right. Yeah. The kids are carriers, and hopefully the children recover quickly, and most of them probably do from Omicron anyway, but they're carriers, and you just read about it every day. I mean, teachers, along with medical professionals, the nurses and are fleeing the field. I mean, if I'm a teacher, and my stupid school district is taking no steps to be precautionary, and there's parents out there like, oh, my child's not going to wear a mask for that. You know what? I'm not teaching your child. See ya. I'm going to find another job. I mean, because that's putting these teachers' lives at risk. It's absurd.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there are so many people that are in the direct line of fire of this that, we think about our janitorial services, the people that clean up in our hospitals, in our schools, and a lot of times the people are in these positions, literally cannot afford to be without their livelihood. They have to work in order to pay the exorbitant amounts that people are charging for rent, for light, for water, for food. You know what I mean? So they have to work. They have to be exposed to whatever's out there. And again, those are the people we really should be thinking about in terms of when we vaccinate to protect them. They were heroes at the outset, right? They are still the same heroes. Our janitors, our custodial people, our secretaries, our teachers, our nurses, these people that have no choice but to deal with whatever Hooli-Wang person comes into their institution. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like our gatekeepers, they are the real heroes right now, and have been for quite a while. And so just think about them in terms of, and I know some of those people that we're mentioning are also some of the people that listen to the bad sources too. So there's that aspect of it. But I think a great deal of them, once they see a little bit of what happens, are really on board. Most people reasonably are on board with what, about the vaccine and about preventing the spread of the COVID-19.
I sure hope so. Let's take a call from Tina. Tina, good morning. Hi, Tina.
Hi.
Hi there. What's on your mind?
My question was, me and my husband, we've been vaccinated, and we were waiting to get our booster, and we both got COVID, and we've been over it for about 2 weeks, but we've been told so many different things because we want to get our booster, but some of our doctors have said wait, and then some that they've not told us how long, and then some have said go ahead. So we really don't know what to do at this point.
Excellent question. I know some friends that same shoes as you are. Listen to what Dr. Smith has to say. We'll get an answer for you here. That's a great question. She's not alone.
It's one of the more common questions that I get, in terms of my patients that are post-COVID coming to see me for a follow-up. How soon should I get the booster? To the point that I made earlier to Nick, you don't want to overwhelm your immune system. Your immune system right now has two different types of cells that have been fighting your COVID vaccine, your COVID infection, IgG and IgM. IgG is the long-lasting one, but what we found, and the reason why we had to have vaccines and boosters, is that IgG didn't last as long as we thought. It looks like the IgG from the natural immunity, so-called, is about 3 months, but I've been telling people to wait about 6 weeks. So the long and short of it is I wait about 6 weeks past your infection and go ahead and get a booster. I think that gives your immune system enough time to recover from the insult of the initial virus. And especially since you guys have already been vaccinated, I think that 6 weeks is a reasonable amount of time.
And so your point being, as we go to break, is that they're probably concerned. They had it. They want the booster for more protection. The fact that it sounds like they both recovered from their bout with COVID, as a result of that, as they sit there right now, they have a stronger immune response simply because they have those antibodies from fighting the illness. They're better. So between the original vaccines and the fact that they've recovered and have that, wait 6 months, or rather, 6 weeks, and then go get your booster. But they're protected now.
That seems to be the consensus. But again, I mean, I'm in a group chat with some of my valued colleagues from Morehouse, and we argue about this every single day. So,
well, what would you say? What would you say the window is? What would you say the reasonable window is of disagreement?
I would say, I've heard people say as early as 2 weeks. So somewhere between 2 weeks and 3 months.
Okay. And
that's a big window.
And that's tricky then. If I were in your shoes, I might just split the difference. But clearly, Tina, the best thing to do, you heard what he said. His recommendation is 6 weeks. Make sure you run that by. You may have some specific needs that you have that your doctor's aware of, and same with your husband, that he may have a good reason for a different recommendation. But it doesn't mean you need to go out right off the bat and get it. But that's the nature of the game. It's an imperfect science to some degree when you have that kind of span. So just give yourself some time, check with your doctor, but Dr. Smith says probably 6 weeks would be a good ballpark on that. We'll take a break, be back with our final segment with our guest and more of your calls right after this.